Hey guys, it's Angie Martinez, and I just cashed out with Luxury Tax.
Hey, this is Lil Mama, and I just cashed out with Luxury Tax.
What is going on, billionaires? You know what it is. It is your boy Ty Cole, your celebrity's favorite and a personality, and I'm always joined with my right hand, Miss Beautiful multimedia blogger, Miss Tai Perkins, who I love so much.
Hi, that's me. I think we're having technical difficulties. Okay, I hear us now. We're back.
Perfect. We're back.
Okay.
Yay! And he's not here. No, he's celebrating Thanksgiving early in Louisiana, but your girlfriend's favorite, Alex Yang. And we are joined by, first of all, I am so honored to be next to you because you are just changing the game, okay?
And then on top of that, you're glowing.
Yes.
Like, from head to
We
toe.
wish
Like,
I could see her, but I can see her in this edits next
from
week.
hair accessory to her highlight to
Can
her.
we get into this accessory on the side real quick?
And then it says, you guys can't see it, but it says VH1 Black Girl Beauty, which is the show she created.
Yes.
And just rep your brand. Like, just wear it
This
on
is
you.
Miss Sarita,
Yell it from the
okay?
mountaintops. I love it.
Miss
I'm
Sarita,
obsessed.
VH1 social media manager, creator of Black Girl Beauty. Give us a whole rundown.
Give us the rundown.
Oh my gosh, where do I even start?
I know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, they can hear you, girl,
Awesome.
loud and clear.
Cool. Well, hi. My name is Sarita Nauth. I work at VH1. I'm the social media manager there, but I'm also the creator of VH1's Black Girl Beauty. So, yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's start, before we get into all of the amazing things you do now, let's start from the beginning. So tell us about growing up. When you were growing up, what did you want to do? What did you see yourself doing?
Right.
Yeah, so I was born in Guyana, South America, which, if anyone knows, it's a West Indian country in South America. So we don't speak Spanish, but we're a melting pot like New York of so many different people. And I left there when I was 3. I was raised in Belize, Central America, and which is obviously a culture shock when you're like 3 years old.
Right.
And then I was raised there, and then I moved to New York City when I was around 8. So that was definitely growing up. I got to see a multitude of people.
Yes.
I got to grow up. And then, living in New York City, you're able to see everyone of all different types.
That's right.
You can go in one
Very
place,
diverse.
you can be in one set of people, and you can be in another place with another set of people. So it was definitely growing up. I at first didn't know what I wanted to do. I definitely knew I was a creative. I'm a Pisces, so I'm very artistic and
Super
intuitive,
artistic.
heads in the cloud type of attitude.
Yes.
But
Right.
I definitely wanted to do fashion design. I went to the High School of Fashion Industries, and
Shout out to FIT.
I know. Oh, well, actually, I went to FIT for college.
Oh, okay.
So the High School of Fashion Industries is actually a trade fashion school on 24th Street in New York City. And it's honestly, you would think it's some kind of reality show. It's like literally we have like this big fashion show at the end of the senior year. It's like it's one of those things. So through that experience, those 4 years in high school, I was able to learn not only fashion design, but I also found my love for makeup there. So I was always...
Which is beat, y'all. Okay? Beat. What are we wearing right now?
Oh,
actually?
we are wearing Pretty Little Thing today.
Okay.
Just a little bit of snakeskin,
Yes.
a little bit of ruffle action, just a little something.
And the lip and all the... what are you wearing for the
Fenty, of
products?
course, a little
Yes.
stunner. I'm wearing a little
Okay.
Fenty, a little Physicians Formula glow. Don't sleep on that.
Yes.
For the Physicians Formula eyeliner, don't sleep on that either. You can make everything work.
You make it all work on
So
your
creative.
social media.
Yes.
Your
Thank you.
videos, we love them so much. Like you literally push out like the best product and you make it like work for yourself.
Thank you.
It looks so amazing.
Yeah, the branding is on 100.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
That means a lot. I'm a one-woman team. Like most
That's right.
influencers who have to cut, edit, produce, do everything. It's hard being an influencer out there. So that was even part of my journey to creating Black Girl Beauty, was seeing that sort of journey that a lot of Black women have to do too, because we
That's
don't
right.
have, a whole production team or everyone's sort of like supporting her to the funds to do all these different things. So
Hold on, listen. I don't think they heard you. We don't have the support, the funds. We have to do
That
this
part.
on our own.
yeah.
And I love that. And I feel like that's what you represent. That's what Black Girl Beauty represents. We're going to get into that later.
Yes. So as a creative within entertainment, especially as you just touched on being a Black woman, is it hard to speak in rooms that are predominantly non-people of color?
In what sense?
In the sense of you have an idea or a project that you want to push out, and you're in a room with other people who may not understand, the project and the basis of what you want to push out as content.
Yeah.
And you're pushing this, and you're trying to project this, project to them. In a room of, let's say, predominantly white men and yourself, do you feel like it's hard to speak in those rooms when you're just representing yourself?
Absolutely. Right. And I don't think you'll come across any woman of color, black woman, brown woman, Asian woman, who won't have that fear of speaking to an audience that won't understand them, know where they came from, know what they're selling. Because a lot of times, and we all know it, Black women put everything and so much passion into their work. And minority women started. I mean, and being in corporate, that tends to happen where, you will say, I've had many people come to me in multiple walks of life from different organizations that have to deal with that. And they say, oh, I had to present to all of these people and they just didn't get it, so I had to dumb it down. That's right. I had to get down to their level and make them understand the culture. And you can't really do that sometimes when someone doesn't, inherently understand or know the culture. Right. So I think a lot of it is being able to sort of be confident within yourself, but be confident in your work to know that however you presented it is going to shine no matter what. That's and right. Granted, where you will have to try to explain, I would recommend do not try to force something that is not. If those people don't understand, then that's not the place for you. That's right. And I'm not saying that you have to go to a predominantly, a company that's only with people of your race, because you don't want to deal with biases and being like, oh, everyone's just going to support everything that you do. Exactly. You want to be able to say, in what ways did you not understand what I was saying, and how do you feel like I communicated better? But also know that what you're saying is right. Know that what you're doing is, be confident in what you're selling, because you weren't in that room for no reason. You weren't up there, at the top of the table presenting for no reason. I see it a lot of times. The one sole Black woman who's in leadership presenting at the head of the table, right. And I'm usually through the glass conference room just like, yes, it's so, definitely I feel like it has a lot to do with just being confident and also never having to explain yourself to someone who doesn't.
Yes.
It's hard.
Gems. Dropping these gems. Yes.
It is really
I think
hard.
that the most important part is making yourself or whatever you're presenting an asset. How can this product benefit whoever you're presenting it to? And I think that sometimes that's where we lack. That's right. I feel like we have these great grand ideas and it's kind of like, okay, so you're sharing that with me because how can this benefit me? So you have to kind of find a way to help me help you kind of situation. But speaking of help, let's talk about your job, right? So at my job, my title is a digital producer / social media specialist, right? And so when I got hired for this position, I'm like, you want me to do what? You want me to do social media? I knew how to do it, but I'm like, this is an actual job.
And
it makes money.
I will note that how those are two separate positions.
Those are.
And, not only do Black women have to work twice as hard, but then also now you have to be better at both.
Yes.
That's right. Luckily I'm good at both. But so how did you get into social media?
Yeah, well, I'm in the middle of doing my social media job right now,
Yes.
so
Okay,
apologies, guys, just make sure I tag and, everybody's in here. Oh, never mind. Okay.
And
so
listen,
think
even when she's working, she's still working.
Okay? I have to, honestly, it's 12 o'clock. Black Girl Beauty is airing right now on VH1's YouTube channel. Yes. So I got to make sure, I give the people what they need, they deserve, and make sure that they know that there's a new episode on right now.
That's right. And a lot of people don't know. So, right, when you work in social media, I tell people this all the time. I am not on my phone for fun. I am literally on my phone doing work. Like I'm on a date and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to post this because it's this time.
It's this time. This one. This program in the air. Yes. This promo. This event is happening. Absolutely.
I want people in the comments also want to know that too. Someone, Stevie So Fetch, he said I would love to know as well, like how to get into a social media role. So I guess you can touch on social media and tips on how to.
Oh God, DJ Explosive is back. Hey, DJ Explosive, don't curse me out today. Wasn't he cursing me? No, I think he was my fan last week.
He was
he was. I like him. Never mind.
You see that? How she switch up? He said, "Hey, boo boo."
Hi. So getting into social media is a question.
How to get into it and tips on how to get into a role like that.
So even before I was working at VH1 and I started off as an intern, but even before then, people and a lot of older people actually were like, "Oh, you're young, you know about social media, you could do this," and I'm just like, "Well, exactly to understand social media truly is to." To understand social media truly is to not only understand the culture and the target audience in which you're speaking to, but understanding how you can be flexible with your voice across many different ways. Like when you deal with even, it doesn't matter if you're at a PR agency or corporation, you are having to take your voice from, you know, a girl that looks like you to a man to sports to entertainment to, you know, TV to pets to everything. You have to change your voice, and you have to be able to be flexible with that. So anybody who wants advice and going into social media, you have to be very, very open-minded, and you have to be able to, you know, craft different voices and be able to just be able to go with the flow and go with the changes, and understand that every single day you're going to be forced to learn and work on different platforms that will die in the next year. So you have to put all your work into something, and it really tests you as a human being. So these are part of the challenges that come to working in social media, and those are the things that I would advise people, because honestly, I mean, I had some knowledge of it before because I lived in New York City. You know, I've always, you know, been in the area and grew up with people who, I grew up in the social media era. You know, we all grew up within that era where, you know, we were throwing subs on AIM, like, you know, like, status. You know, like we were making top 8s, even coders. We were doing all these things. So we grew up in that age, you know. We had to learn social media, and we had to explain it to people above us too. That's right. You know, and we're still constantly doing it.
That's right.
So.
That is so true.
Especially, you have to be adaptable too. Like if you can adapt to something that's new, because what's kind of what you said, like what's hot in 3 months is not gonna be hot in the next 3 months.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
That's right.
Absolutely.
So if you can adapt into this kind of lifestyle, then like this probably isn't the field for you. Like it's a lot of adapting to different things and new insights and innovations and different activations, experiential stuff. Like there's so many things that go into it besides just posting. Even you gave me some tips when we had our coffee at work or whatever, and she was telling me like there's a science to it. You know, the color blocking and like when you should be posting and like the proper captions and the proper hashtags, the angles. Like there is an entire work, which is why it is a job.
And that's why it will boost. It can either help or hurt your brand. It could put you in positions. It could probably surpass your expectations. It just depends. Social media is literally like your online resume. Like for myself, I know, so I'm in music. When I want to hear an artist or when an artist sends me music, I'm like, oh, well, let me see what your page is looking like. Let me see what your followers looking like. Are you consistent? Are you posting your baby mother's ex-boyfriend, airing him out, or are you professional? I'm checking everything.
It's true.
And consistency is key. Like you can have someone who has a very small amount of following, but you have to look at their engagement. You have to look at how people are talking to them, interacting with them. Are they actually active? Are they doing lives? Are they doing polls? Are they doing all these different things? It is a lot to be relevant today in the social media space.
It's a job.
And honestly, it's really hard because, you know, even as an influencer, I'm like, what if I did start YouTube when I saw it on and pop in? Like I could have been up there to the, you know, I could have been one of the very small 5 women of color that actually get invited to events or anything like that, because it is very hard to make it up there to the top and be recognized because everyone's so bombarded by a number. Everyone's so bombarded by, you know, quality and whatnot, and someone's quality might be great but their content might not be that good, you know. So that's the reason why even with my own content, you know, I'm doing it at all hours of the night. I'm trying my absolute best to just do what I have to, and I stopped worrying about those numbers. I started just worrying about making content that I love and enjoy.
That's right.
Yes,
I can definitely relate to that. I feel like for me personally, on my personal brand, if you go to my page, you're probably like, okay, she's regular. But I do social media for a lot of different companies. So that's where I put my all in. Like, I want this to be the best work I've ever put out.
Listen, my Twitter is lame. You know, my Twitter is a microcosm of all my like wild thoughts in my head. And I'm just like, as Tasia Kerr said in our episode that's airing right now, she said that, you know, the internet's so new and it's literally our portfolio of what's going on in the world. So a lot of people tend to judge us from that. When we were saying, you know, throwing subs on AIM or, you know, when Twitter just started, you know, these are just very interesting things that are, you know, that I feel like a lot of times people shouldn't be judged for, but also like, you know, if you're racist, but just saying.
Let's get into that too. So, you know, people feeling judged and things of that nature. So as a beauty influencer, you have a platform with many individuals who are looking for you for beauty tips on the day who may struggle within their own skin. So how do you use your platform to empower the voiceless or those who may be shy and feel like they're not being represented or maybe don't even know what to do when it comes to beauty.
Yeah,
or feel like they're not beautiful themselves.
Yeah. I've learned on this journey that I've learned a lot about loving my own skin. And I always... Damn, you hitting me with hard questions. I want to find the best way to vocalize something that you always see a lot of beauty influencers. And a lot of people would like to follow beauty influencers that look like them, that have to deal with things that they have to deal with. And I feel like capturing an audience of brown women who look like me, can use products like me, has always been very important. And even one thing that it's a very small, minute thing, but three things I actually focus on my platform is skin conditions like keratosis pilaris, chicken skin. I didn't realize that my biggest insecurity growing up and never wearing short sleeves is because I have these bumps on my arms. And I was like, oh, like this is something so like only me. I thought only me have, like I only have it. And then I like got a product and I started using it and I posted about it, and it's actually one of like my most saved post to date because there were so many people that specifically messaged me and said, I have the same thing too. I have to deal with it too. And it made me, I literally sat there and I was like, oh shit, like I actually, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I actually did something, and that was when I wanted to continue doing my platform, and even like posting my first full body, fashion, video. That was a really big deal to me too, because I was always never confident with my body. And I think that through this beauty blogging, experience that I've had, I've learned so much how to love myself, and I want to inspire other people to love themselves too, because no man, nobody, no significant other that you choose to be in this world is ever going to fill that void in your life. I always say this, two halves don't make a whole. It's just two halves of a people.
That's
You break apart, you're still a half. You
Yes.
think that you need someone else to complete you, and that's not really the case. I've never believed that. I've always believed that, hey, sure, if I have to wait, that's fine, but I'm my own favorite company. I love hanging out and doing things by myself, going to a concert later by myself. I just enjoy my own company, and I feel like a lot of even brown women have to go through so much more because of all of these past, stereotypes put on them across different, from Asian women to Black women. And they always have to learn how to love themselves tenfold, because white women are always being put on a pedestal as being beautiful for just being
themselves.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that that's not to insult anyone. I think it's just to bring light to what the media and what everything puts out there, so if I can use my platform, my small but very humble platform, to inspire other people to just say, hey, like I have a gap in my teeth, I have a bridge in my nose, we all have bridges, but like a bump in my nose, like I have these different things wrong with me, I have rolls, I have imperfect skin,
And I love that you emphasize on that. Only because
so transparent.
Even for sometimes as men, like we try to like sugarcoat it and not amplify it, but like we also struggle with things. Like
it was a lot of Black men that reached out to me too that said that they dealt with keratosis pilaris.
Yes.
So that was the one thing that I will point out, because that wasn't very important to me. I was like, oh, my male audience actually felt
like we
included.
Look for you, because it's like people like yourself, you help us. Like sometimes even for myself, like I struggle sometimes, feel like, oh, like I'm not super skinny enough, or like I don't feel like I look this way, because there's other men who other men pit me up against sometimes. And for me, it makes me sometimes think like, okay, well, maybe if I look like this, maybe if I change this, and maybe if I style this, maybe, and it's like, I had to sit myself down one day and I'm like, no, like you are just as good enough as the next person. You are perfect for yourself.
That's right.
And the fact that you use your platform and you have these different platforms, you have these different projects, that you are making sure that we're not all only are represented, but feeling included.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is what makes a social media manager. Not the post, making sure that everyone around you, everyone who's watching, feels included and feels represented and feels like I am a human being, not just being thrown to the side because what other people may identify as beautiful. Yeah. That is what we look for in a beauty influencer. Yeah. So I respect you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That means you don't have me crying.
I'm gonna start crying.
I know that's
true.
It really does. I mean, when I see the girls that are getting the deals and getting the the endorsements and making so much money off of this sort of trend that's happening right now, it sort of hurts my heart a little bit, because I'm like, well, I work a full-time job. You know, I work a full-time job. I still have makeup jobs on the side. I still, you know, have a social life that I need to take care of and family that I need to look after. And I think that oftentimes I'm like, there are some girls who literally just sit at home and don't have a day job, and they being an influencer is a day job to them, and it kind of hurts because yes, they do get the deals, and I do think they deserve it, you know, to an extent. But I think that there are so many other Black women and women of color that are doing the same thing in tenfold, and they got to take care of everything, and they've got kids, and they've got other stuff to take care of, and they've got to do that as well.
That's right.
And to only ask for your friends to support you, and I think that's the biggest thing too. Like, it's free $99 to support your friend on social media, to double tap, don't blame it on the algorithm. Like, you see their Instagram stories. Oh, I haven't seen Sarita in a minute. Let me go to her page and whatnot. I'm not, you know, fishing for likes or anything like that, or self-satisfaction, because the self-satisfaction I'm gonna get is from me.
Right.
Hello.
You know, I'm not feeling like, oh, I only got 50 likes on this, but I only have this many followers. And I don't care about that. I've never cared about that stuff. You know, and I think that a lot of times, you know, when I do meet brands in person, they're like, oh my goodness, like, you're a real person. You keep it real through and through. And even I've had some brands that I've met that they invited me out to dinner, and they were like, oh my gosh, like, we're fangirling over you. And I'm like, me? And they're like, yeah, because you do all of these things, and then you choose to continue to put your fans in first, you know, as well, by putting out this content as well. So it definitely feels good, but I definitely feel that, you know, having a good support system definitely helps.
Well, you definitely have a good support system with this new show, Black Girls. So, as a woman of color, you've created a show which is none like any other. Shout out to VH1, empowering Black girls and women to love the skin that they are in with Black Girl Beauty, which airs every Saturday on YouTube. So, where did the inspiration come from, and why was it so important for you to make this project come to light?
Wow. This project was a passion project for years. And when I say that, it's because I started off, you know, when I went to college, I did go to FIT. I studied in fashion merchandise management and advertising marketing communications. And I was still doing beauty in there. I was a makeup assistant for a very long time to Emmy Award winning makeup artist Andrew Sotomayor. And, you know, as being a makeup assistant to a former drag queen, you know, learning everything about the industry, Andrew is amazing. He's my mentor, and he's always been he's Mexican American, but he was always a person everyone chose to do makeup on Black women. Because there weren't that many makeup artists who looked like him or were Caucasian that could do makeup on Black women. And he made me started to realize, and even when we started going on shoots for major magazines and major, you know, commercial gigs and whatnot, it started becoming a problem. I started seeing so many makeup artists not have shade ranges, even if, you know, you're always pulled into different situations where, to me as a makeup artist, I feel like as genuinely you should always be prepared. You should always have everything. You should be prepared to do her makeup one day and then do, you know, somebody that looks like the walls the next. Like, you should be able to be prepared. Versatility. You have to. And the thing is that to not be prepared is to honestly put blinders on and just think that how this is the only thing I have to focus on, which is not fair. You know, and I think that there were that and then many situations that happened after that I saw with my own eyes or heard from friends within the industry about how other Black women were, Black models, Black makeup artists, Black, you know, beauty influencers. And I was like, how I've got it. Now I might work in television, but I was like, I have to do something. So when my bosses were saying, you know, we need to explore new opportunities in digital series, you know, this has been happening for, I think, a little over a year and a half. This idea was pitched a year and a half ago, and all of my bosses still see me in the hallway. They're like, are you excited? Like, this is a year and a half in the making. And they were very, very supportive because, you know, it just came down to budget. And then when it actually came through, and we, you know, hit the ground running with it. I made sure I had a Black producer, Black makeup artist, Black everything, you know, and
to the Black host of Gia Peppers.
Yes,
hello.
You know, and I wanted to ensure even the talent booker, you know, down to PAs, down to everyone that I could actually get, and the people that I could control as far as, you know, having a hand in it, with our amazing producer Felicia Stevens, who is a Black woman. You know, she definitely took my project, listened to me rant because I talk a lot, you know, literally sat there and had me sort of spill all my guts for hours and said, I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to make the show that you've always wanted. And
I love it.
VH1 has been so supportive through this entire process, and they've been giving me opportunities like this and others to just sort of speak, you know, where the brand is going. You know, this is our target audience. This is, you know, this is we're speaking to that girl, you know. So it was a great experience to just see it come to fruition, because I think on the last day, as we were breaking down the set, I started crying, because I said that how I want the girl to see this, or the person who's hiring the scientists in the labs. Like, that's how deep I wanted the show to go. Right. So that way, there isn't. I'm sorry.
This is so.
And that's where the show is going.
You know, this, and again, you know, this show was meant for all of those models and the influencers and makeup artists who did not want to feel othered anymore, or feel invisible by the beauty industry anymore, because Black women have always been it. Have always
Child, say it again.
been it. You know, always been the trendsetters within the industry. And I think social media has lit this huge spotlight on Black women and said, you're not going to forget about us. You love you love our bodies, you love our money, you love our everything. And Black women have the highest, you know, consumption of beauty monetarily within the industry. And this industry isn't going away anytime soon. So that's the reason why I felt that, never mind, you know, this project's still relevant today.
It sure
you know,
is.
so it's not going away. There are still people who are getting canceled every single day. There are still people who are saying racist comments within the beauty industry. There are still people who say, oh, well, we're not going to invite her. We only want the top 10 rich white beauty influencers to be in our event, or the racially ambiguous beauty influencers, so we can have a little diversity. You know, and I'm just like, listen, there are a lot of amazing, talented artists out there, but I think that it was so important, this project, to see the everyday Black woman, Black beauty, you know, makeup artist, who wants to feel like they're being listened to and loved, and not going to be forgotten when they go on set, because they know that there's other people out there looking out for them and using their voices and their platforms to create something, you know. And even if, like, this is just the start, you know. And
I think it is.
It is the start of something amazing. It is the start of something amazing.
I feel like you started off this decade with the ground running.
Yeah, I think that the show, so I've watched it. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Gia Peppers, so job well done on picking
I love her.
To be the whole. She is the epitome of Black girl beauty. Everything it represents, I feel like that just perfectly describes her.
And I could have gotten, honestly, and I've talked to Gia about this before, like, I could have gotten, you know, a beauty influencer sitting on the seat, a makeup girl right in the middle of the seat, but I wanted a journalist. I wanted someone who was going to help move the conversation and help empower other women to say, you know, this is an opportunity in which I want you to help dig deeper, not only within yourself, but what can you teach other people?
Yes.
And that's exactly what she does. I feel like just the whole situation, it's just amazing. I feel like it's empowering, it's entertaining, it's super funny. Right. And I just feel like job well done. How was the creative process, not coming up with the show, but actually like getting into the show? Okay, so now you pitched the idea, they loved it, moving forward. What was that like?
I will say that I had to play many hats in here. And as much as I know that it wasn't, you know, it was a little difficult, because I not only love the show, but I had to sort of realize that I needed to take a step back and look at it from a social media manager's perspective. Not only building out the campaign and being able to, you know, take it from beginning to end and still post, and even up until this day creating content for fans, I had to look back at it and say, you know, make sure I don't get too close to this project, so that way I'm not clouding my judgment, and I can let other creative people have their creative processes. That's right. You know, so that was something that I definitely learned from this process as well, because, you know, I definitely, you know, put my hands in it when it comes to, you know, what was, you know, just a conversation and the topics in which I knew I was well informed on to speak on, and to make sure that our audience knew. You know, so I think that for sure it was definitely a long process, but I think that I had an amazing team around me. I mean, I could shout out every single person here on today, but I don't think we have enough time for that. But to everybody who worked or touched on Black Girl Beauty, I'm very grateful for them. Absolutely.
Well, listen, you are Blacker Than Beautiful, and we love.
Wait. I have a question. So before we wrap this up, I have a question. So why Black girl beauty? Why not woman of color beauty? Because you're not Black, right?
Yeah. No, I am not Black. I am not African American.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made you say, I just need to speak to my Black girls who are beautiful?
So because Black women are the number one victims to blackfishing, to different, just different microaggressions within the industry, more so than any woman.
That's right.
Because they can mix a little brown, little white together and do it on a brown girl. Mm-hmm. But like, if I see that brands are creating ranges that are like 30, and then the whole other end of the spectrum is being left out, what is that?
That's right.
So I had to look out for my friends. I had to look out for my friends' neighbors, the girls I went to school with, all these Black women who are beautiful that want the access outside of their local beauty drugstore, the beauty supply store at the end of the block. They want to go into Sephora and see their face there. They want to be able to see that. And I feel like it wasn't fair. I looked at it and said, if I can use my sort of, if I can do right by the girl that watches VH1, then I've done my job.
Job well done.
I've done that.
And you did it.
Thank you.
And you did it well.
Thank you.
I love that. I have chills. Oh my God, I love it. I love this whole thing. This is one of my favorite interviews thus far.
Thank you.
Thank you. You really brought what we needed, and you really just kind of told people in the comments too. Like, there's a lot of girls who are Black in the comments. Like, oh my God, like we love this. Like, people are loving it. Like, some things is. Let me get some of them.
Yes, let's shout out these comments.
He said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is like amazing. I think I'm saying a PMA radio station. They
want you to know your Instagram.
They want to know your
Insta. At Sarita Nauth. So SARITA NAUTH.
They just love all the gems you're giving. So they.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Honestly, it really does, because this is what I wanted. This is not about me. This is about those women. Right. And again, and I've said it before.
This is about
me.
Yes,
you.
Yes. I love this. I feel like everything, this show, everything you're saying is speaking directly to my soul. Yeah. Like going on Instagram and seeing someone who is not of color with hair that's not naturally kinky, or cornrows, or talk like me, walk like me, shape like me, but don't represent like me. That's right. But you don't represent me. You don't understand my struggles. You don't relate to my struggles. And kind of like you like the good part about us, but the rest of the stuff, like when we talk about police brutality and injustices, we're not going to speak about that, but we just going to take everything else.
Yeah, but it's all fun and games to try to be Black until it's time to be Black.
Until it's time to be Black.
Yeah. And I will say that, to answer a little bit more about your earlier question about why it isn't, about, women of color beauty or whatnot, I think that this is just a great place to start. This isn't the end. This is just a great place to start. And when I think about all the women in the beauty industry that have been othered, I'm going to start with Black women. Because it's about friggin' time. It's about friggin' time that they get the recognition that they deserve for all of the amazing looks and whatnot. You can't buy that melanin. You can't buy that color that they were born with. So you can't say that how you love Black women, but you don't support them. Right.
So, I just want to say that when they do make like a fashion museum, like a beauty museum in the next few years, I want you to know that you will be in there.
That's right.
I just want you to understand that. Yeah. I want you to understand that you are definitely going to go down, in my opinion, and I think in everyone else's in the comments in the world, in history, as somebody who really tried and did make note that and made it clear that Black women, we are here. Y'all are here. Y'all are in the building, and you're not going anywhere, honey.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So before we wrap it up, I want to ask one more question. Going into 2020, what do you want to bring with you into 2020, and what do you want to leave into 2019?
I think one list is a little longer than another, but okay, let's start off. One of each. Okay, so one of each. So I think that, the one thing that I would like to leave behind in 2019 is anxiety. So I feel like that's a real issue that a lot of people suffer with. It's never going to go away. A lot of things trigger that. And I feel like a lot of times my anxiety gets the best of me. Anxiety stops a lot of people from making that step forward, sending that email, for, doing that pitch, or making that cold call, doing all of those things. So I think that, being more brave and more, spearheaded going into 2020 is what I want to do. Like, I want to be more bold. I want to be, even more, of this advocate and ally, and just speak and represent the women that are, around me. And then, and then also speaking to the women who are like me, who are West Indian, who are, struggling with their identity. And like, I look black, but I look brown, but I, whatever, my hair is curly, but like, then it's not straight. I want to be able to speak to those women, and I want to be able to create more stories and be able to take this further.
Love it.
So before we do wrap this up, give us, 3 tips on any skincare or beauty tips you have for this holiday season. Because it's cold out. It must give me looking low. Woo! So,
listen.
3 quick tips you can give us. Skincare or beauty for the holiday season.
Moisturize. If y'all don't moisturize in general, that's already a problem.
Right.
But moisturize is definitely a big thing. But I will say even before moisturize and exfoliate. And so a lot of people think that in the wintertime that your skin is already dry and already feeling very sensitive, that you don't need to exfoliate. Definitely exfoliate. Definitely be able to get rid of those dead skin and everything that builds up when you're bracing the harsh New York weather. So when you're dealing with that, definitely, exfoliate, get rid of all that dead skin, and be able to put moisture back into your skin. Hydrate, make sure that you do all of that stuff. I love, like, from Fresh Beauty, their deep hydration sleep-in mask. So if you're not experimenting with a sleep-in mask, try it. Make sure that when you go to sleep, that you use a sleep-in mask. Now, a lot of brands have been coming out with them, but I feel like actually some of them are a little sticky, some of them are a little light, but I would say that I like Fresh Beauty because it's right there in the middle. And then my last tip would definitely be take care of your lips. So I will say, I will say that, they don't call it cuffing season for no reason. And you got to be able to have those lips moisturized. So best ways in which you keep your lips moisturized is obviously use Fenty Beauty. Their lip loving scrub stick. Definitely use that. All right, make sure you get rid of all those dead skin cells there. All right, you look at your lips the whole entire time you looking at me. And even if you're wearing matte lipsticks, even glosses, they get all crusty all up in there. You wear it all day, you reapply, it's not good for your lips. So obviously make sure that you scrub them and use a balm. So Fenty Beauty has a balm that goes with it as well. Use that. But Patchology, which is a very amazing skincare company, they have lip gels. Those I absolutely love because I pop those on while I'm doing random activities, and those are able to help me get moisturized without having to put extra product. It's just naturally moisturizing my lips.
Somebody asked, just to repeat one more time, the what is it, the type of mask that you use?
The mask that I use. So it's
the mask you mentioned.
Fresh Beauty Deep Hydrating Rose Sleep-In Mask. So it is a large container. It's a little pricey, but it goes a long way.
Okay.
And it's dual-ended. It has a gel and it has a cream. Right? And that I found helped fix my skin tenfold. If you can't afford that, a good alternative is Ole Henriksen Sea Rush Brightening Cream, gel cream. That's really good too because it helps brighten your skin, because in the winter months you're not able to get sun and vitamin C and vitamin E on all these good vitamins to your skin, so you have to be kind to your skin during the winter months. So
Yes. Well, beauty tip 101. Love it.
Okay. You gotta come back.
Oh my gosh, of course. I would love to.
You have to come
I
back.
think you should come back for every season. Give us some little season tips of what we could do.
Well, we'll have to see if there's more things coming, more new things
I think
happening.
we're gonna have a couple of things coming for you next year, okay?
Yeah,
so let us know where we can check out you and check out VH1 Black Girl Beauty.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find new episodes of VH1's Black Girl Beauty every single Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. We have a few more episodes left in the season. You don't want to miss it. So if you want to join the conversation, use hashtag Black Girl Beauty on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at VH1BGB or on Instagram at VH1 Black Girl Beauty. And where you can find me is at Sarita Nauth, SARITA NAUTH, at Instagram. And don't follow my Twitter, it's a mess. So it doesn't have anything to do with beauty. So.
Well, listen, thank you so much for catching up with us.
Gia.
Okay. Hey, Gia.